Okay guys, so real quickly just wanted to give a little review about the latest Star Wars Rebels episode that technically speaking has not aired yet, but if you have the Disney XD app on your iPad or whatever, you can watch it there a week ahead of time. So that's really cool. That's kind of what I've been doing. But anyways, so this will be a little bit of a spoiler review. But so the episode is called Vision of Hope. And so the reason it's called this is because in the beginning of the episode, we see Ezra have a vision of meeting with Travis, who is this sort of broadcaster, rebel sympathizer, sort of almost a leader of the Rebel Alliance, it seems, or so it seems to them. So anyways, Ezra has a vision of him meeting Travis and him getting some information from Travis, obviously, specifically about his parents. So he's obviously really gung-ho, and Kanan tries to warn him, that not all visions are exactly what you think they are. You may not be interpreting it right. You're not a master Jedi yet. But Kanan, as much as he tries to tell Ezra this, Ezra just won't listen. He's not having it. He's dead set on meeting Travis. So they do go eventually meet him in this sort of a abandoned temple or palace or whatever. And it turns out it's a trap. And then we learn later that the reason it's a trap is because Travis is actually working for the Empire, and he has actually pretty much double-crossed them, working undercover for the Empire as a rebel leader. The really cool thing about whenever we discover Travis is a traitor is we actually get to see Hera be sort of a badass and trick him by giving him an empty gun because she suspected him all along. And this is really like the second episode in a row that we've got to see her do more than just drive the ship and be kind of a badass, and that's kind of cool. I think she really works better when she's off the ship, interacting with the team more than what we saw her in the first half of this season. The other really cool scene right before Ezra has the vision, or while he's having the vision in the beginning of the episode, he is also practicing and training with the lightsaber some more, and I really think that's it's a really well done scene because they're gradually showing him becoming more of a Jedi. And you got to think back to the very first episode, or the movie, which is 2 episodes long. He was basically the Aladdin of Star Wars. He was a bum, pickpocket, street rat, whatever they called Aladdin in those movies. But anyways, so to come from that to where we see him get his kyber crystal, make his lightsaber, and now to be training with it and slowly progressing and getting better, as he does have the vision, he is able to not only block all the blasts that they shoot at him, but he's also able to hit his target, to deflect them at the target, which was really cool. So yeah, it's just nice to think that in these 12 episodes we're actually seeing some character development with Ezra. So I really liked that. But yeah, other than that, I would give this episode, like a 7.5. It was a little slow as far as developing the story, but it was definitely an action-packed episode. So I think this, you got to have episodes like this that have more action, and a little bit more for the kids maybe, since they didn't develop the story a whole lot. But my favorite part, the reason this is a 7.5 and not just a 6.5 or a 7, is because of Chopper. I mean, this character is slowly becoming my favorite character in the whole Rebels series. He reminds me a lot of R2. It's not that he reminds me of R2, but he reminds me of R2 in a sense that just his little grunts and groans and sounds really convey the character of this droid. As the beeps and boops of R2, made it seem kind of like a kid, a kid who didn't really know better, and his ignorance would let him do all kinds of brave and crazy things. Well, with Chopper, we sort of get the grumpy cat of the droids, of the astromechs, and it's really cool to see him always kind of be there for his team, but he'll let them know he is not happy about it. I don't know, that just, the way that they're able to convey that through, like I said, groans and grunts and his waving his little mechanical arms. I just really enjoy that, and I find it amusing. And like I said, I can't wait to get his action figure and add it to my collection of Rebels figures back here, even though he is by far the hardest to find and the most expensive if you order it off eBay. Yeah, so since I was talking about Ezra and his lightsaber, let's talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot of controversy going around about his saber slash staple gun slash blaster. And I gotta admit, I'm a little torn. At first, I was kind of like, well, it's a little goofy, but whatever. And then I was like, it's pretty cool actually. And you got to keep everything in context that if he was back in the Clone War days, pre-Clone War days, yeah, he would have a regular lightsaber, and he would have proper training, and Obi-Wan would come in there and be like, you can't have a blaster because it's clumsy, and this is a civilized weapon, but we are not in those times. So it does kind of make sense that, and especially makes sense when you consider that in this time, sabers are illegal, and it actually kind of works out, like the last episode we saw where he pulls it out and Kanan's like, whoa, no, you can't have that out. And he's like, don't worry, I'm just going to use it as a blaster. So even though I do understand that where a lot of the criticism comes from as far as like, do we really need more crazy looking sabers, it's getting a little comical. And that's not the weapon of a Jedi, as as Obi-Wan said in A New Hope. But you also have to keep in mind that this is, he's not even being. Not only is he not being taught by an actual Jedi master, he's being taught by basically a Padawan himself, Kanan. But, the fact that the Jedi are in hiding, what little Jedi there is left, Yoda and Obi-Wan, and that sabers are outlawed, you have to kind of keep things in context and understand that, yes, he wouldn't have this saber blaster, or whatever you want to call it, if this was set in a different time. But it's not. So you have to keep that in mind. But I definitely do understand the criticism, especially given that not only do we have this new lightsaber, not only do we have the Inquisitor's crazy looking ridiculous lightsaber, which at first I really liked, and now people are starting to sway me that it's a little ridiculous, and if he's such a badass, he shouldn't need this spinny lightsaber. The double-edged lightsaber would be one thing, but to add this crazy twirling thing, it just seems a little goofy, and now I'm starting to agree with people that say that. And then you throw in the broadsword that we saw in the trailer for Episode 7, and I'm starting to think one of these has got to go. We're getting too many crazy new sabers. Everyone liked Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber because it was new and it was fresh, and we'd never thought about something like that before. But now it's getting a little ridiculous. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, what are they going to do now? Of course, we have to have a new type of saber. We have to surprise people with a weird and interesting saber, and they really don't. Just if you're going to focus on lightsaber design, then just tweak the classic design. You don't have to go crazy with it and make spinning, shooting lightsabers. It's getting a little ridiculous. So I definitely understand those criticisms, but if you have to rationalize it, since it is canon, you just have to remember that this isn't formal Jedi training he's going through. And he builds it out of parts made out of, from Chopper. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, overall, like I said, 7.5 I would give this episode. It is definitely worth watching if you haven't already seen it. And thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and as always, may the Force be with you.